Hi everyone, I'm Wafa Lango and welcome you all in Grammar in Detail. If you have not subscribed the channel, so please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get some more videos about Grammar in Detail. We are going to start the modal auxiliary verbs from active voice into passive voice, and today we will be discussing three modal auxiliary verbs from active voice into passive voice. Those are known as must, ought to and should. From active voice into passive voice, or in ditransitive verbs. You know how you are going to change ditransitive verbs from active voice into passive voice and modal auxiliary verb must, ought to and should. And we have all discussed the three modal auxiliary verb have got used for the same purpose and aim for the obligatory. Must is used for 100%, as you know, and ought to is used for 85%, and should is used for 75%. So this we will be discussing from active voice into passive voice. Simple sentences of ditransitive verbs, we will be changing modal auxiliary verb must. First we will start, and must is used for 100%, which we will discuss now to change it from active voice into passive voice. He must teach me grammar. He must teach grammar to me. And in passive voice you can change the simple sentences into four ways. I must be taught by him grammar. I must be taught grammar by him. Grammar must be taught by him to me. Grammar must be taught to me by him. Negative sentences of modal auxiliary verb must, which is used for denying this statement. He must not teach me grammar. He must not teach grammar to me. I must not be taught by him grammar. I must not taught grammar by him. Grammar must not be taught by him to me. Grammar must not be taught to me by him. Interrogative sentences of modal auxiliary verb must. Must he teach me grammar? Must he teach grammar to me? Must I be taught by him grammar? Must I be taught grammar by him? Must grammar be taught by him to me? Must grammar be taught to me by him? Next we have got the formal sentences of modal auxiliary verb must. Must he not teach me grammar? Must he not teach grammar to me? Must I not be taught by him grammar? Must I not be taught grammar by him? Must grammar not be taught by him to me? Must grammar not be taught to me by him? Informal sentences we have mustn't he teach me grammar? Mustn't he teach grammar to me? Mustn't I be taught by him grammar? Mustn't I be taught grammar by him? Mustn't grammar be taught by him to me? Mustn't grammar be taught to me by him? So these are the sentences of modal auxiliary verb must from active voice into passive voice. Let's discuss the next modal auxiliary verb, that is known as ought to. Ought to is less stressable than must, as you know that, and that is used for 85%, which we are going to change from active voice into passive voice. And first we will be having the simple sentences of modal auxiliary verb ought to, the ditransitive verbs from active voice into passive voice. He ought to teach me grammar. He ought to teach grammar to me. I ought to be taught by him grammar. I ought to be taught grammar by him. Grammar ought to be taught by him to me. Grammar ought to be taught to me by him. Negative sentences of ought to, in which we deny the statement. He ought not to teach me grammar. He ought not teach grammar to me. I ought not to be taught by him grammar. I ought not to be taught grammar by him. Grammar ought not to be taught by him to me. Grammar ought not to be taught to me by him. Interrogative sentences of modal auxiliary verb ought to. Ought he to teach me grammar? Ought he to teach grammar to me? Ought I to be taught by him grammar? Ought I to be taught grammar by him? Ought grammar to be taught by him to me? Ought grammar to be taught to me by him? Next we have got the formal sentences. Ought he not to teach me grammar? Ought he not to teach grammar to me? Ought I not to be taught by him grammar? Ought I not to be taught grammar by him? Ought grammar not to be taught by him to me? Ought grammar not to be taught to me by him? Last we have got the informal sentences of modal auxiliary verb ought to. Ought to short form you can say that oughtn't to. So oughtn't he to teach me grammar? Oughtn't he to teach grammar to me? Oughtn't I to be taught by him grammar? Oughtn't I to be taught grammar by him? Oughtn't grammar to be taught by him to me? Oughtn't grammar to be taught to me by him? These are the sentences of modal auxiliary verb ought to. And last modal auxiliary verb for today's lecture we will discuss, that is known as should. Should is the modal auxiliary verb which is used for the percentage of 75. It is less stressable than must and ought to. And we will make the simple sentences of modal auxiliary verb ought to from active voice into passive voice. Should from active voice into passive voice. He should teach me grammar. He should teach grammar to me. I should be taught by him grammar. I should be taught grammar by him. Grammar should be taught by him to me. Grammar should be taught to me by him. Negative sentences of modal auxiliary verb should. He should not teach me grammar. He should not teach grammar to me. I should not be taught by him grammar. I should not be taught grammar by him. Grammar should not be taught by him to me. Grammar should not be taught to me by him. Interrogative sentences of modal auxiliary verb should. Should he teach me grammar? Should he teach grammar to me? Should I be taught by him grammar? Should I be taught grammar by him? Should grammar be taught by him to me? Should grammar be taught to me by him? So these are the sentences of modal auxiliary verb should, simple, negative, interrogative. Now we will discuss the formal sentences of modal auxiliary verb should. Should he not teach me grammar? Should he not teach grammar to me? Should I not be taught by him grammar? Should I not be taught by grammar by him? Should grammar not be taught by him to me? Should grammar not be taught to me by him? Last we have got the informal sentences of modal auxiliary verb should. Shouldn't he teach me grammar? Shouldn't he teach grammar to me? Shouldn't I be taught by him grammar? Shouldn't I be taught grammar by him? Shouldn't grammar be taught by him to me? Shouldn't grammar be taught to me by him? So these are the formal and informal sentences of modal auxiliary verb should. We have discussed here the three modal auxiliary verb. The first one is known as must, the second one is known as ought to, and the third one is known as should. And we have already discussed that they are used for the obligatory. Must is used for 100%, ought to is used for 85%, and should is used for 75%. And must is the most powerful, ought to is less powerful than must and more powerful than should, and should is less powerful than must and ought to. So these three we have discussed how you are going to change the ditransitive verbs in these modal auxiliary verb from active voice into passive voice. So these are the two ways to change them from active voice into passive voice, and these are the four ways to change the modal auxiliary verb from active voice into passive voice. Hope you got today's lecture. Wish you best of luck. See you with next modal auxiliary verb of ditransitive verbs from active voice into passive voice. Goodbye.